Hello friends, a very good morning to all of you. So today we are going to discuss PF06, that is on-premises versus cloud operational model. So we'll try to understand like the difference between the on-premise and the cloud in terms of SSO infrastructure. So let's begin. PF06 on-premises versus cloud operational model. So yeah, let's see. So we'll first talk about the on-premises, and then we'll talk about the cloud operation model in terms of single sign-on infrastructure. Yeah, so in on-premises, like as per the definition, you can see like on-premises refers to a software deployment model in which applications and data are hosted on physical servers and infrastructure within an organization, right? As opposed to models based on external cloud servers. This model allows companies to retain full control and responsibility over their IT resources. So yeah, so what is happening in the on-premise is like you have the full control, right? That means you are designing your infrastructure, right? You are just taking the servers, you are just allocating the memory, like you have the full control, and you are designing your infrastructure. Maybe I'm talking in terms of single sign-on, but in other areas also, right? In other application deployment, in other field of cybersecurity, or maybe in different areas, right, of the application development, people are just utilizing the on-premise model or the cloud model, right? So in the on-premise, you can see how the things are running. Like I'll just give you a rough example, right? Like what I have seen, like is used in the industry for now, right? So like for an example, like if we can talk about the like in terms of single sign-on, right? So let's take an example of PingFederate, right? So PingFederate is basically, right, you need to just it's an on-premise thing, so you need to just install and configure that on a server, right? And then you need to do the other configuration. So first of all, like definitely you need a server, right? Like you need a Windows server or you need a Linux server, right, where you can install the PingFederate and you can do the configurations, right, so that you can PingFederate start running there. Right, so first of all you need a server, right? Like whether Windows or Linux, right, you need that server, and in that server you need to just first set up the entire thing, right? You just need to take up proper memory, you just need to just look into the different structures of the server, right, as per your infrastructure model, right? Like for an example, if you have a big company, large size company, so you need to think on that part, right? If you have a small size company, then you need to think in that way, right? Because it depends on the load, right? Because your server it needs to be going to handle the load of the request coming from the user for the authentication, right? So first of all you need a server, right, like whether Windows or Linux, right? Then like you need to just take some proxy servers also, right? Because you're not supposed to expose your PingFederate over to the internet, right? Like because it's a core product where exactly authentication is going to happen. So you definitely will try like to put something before PingFederate, right, which can act as a reverse proxy. So in general people are using I can say ping access some places, or in some places the Apache, right? They can just use that HTTPD services, right? Like they will install so that the request will go to the Apache server first, and then it will go to the PingFederate, your PingFederate. That means Apache is like exposed over to the internet, and your PingFed is like it's under the private network, right? In the client network, you can say. So you need a server first, right? Like where you can install the PingFederate first of all thing, right? Then you need like proxy server, as I told, right? Then you need to some kind of load balancer, right, who is going to balance the load. For example, you can have like in we talked about in the previous session, right? Like in PingFederate cluster model, we can have a multiple engine nodes, right, which can basically handle the load of the authentications. So if you have the multiple nodes, then how the request can go to each one of the nodes, right, on an equal basis, so that like the load can be distributed and your server can be efficient, right, to perform those authentications. So for that you need a load balancer, right? So in the on-premise model, in most of the places people are using the F5 load balancer, right, in the internal way, and in the external part also. In both the parts they are just configuring that and giving the target servers, right, of the PingFederate, or the like as an internal it will be PingFederate, as external I can say is Apache servers, right, which is acting as a reverse proxy. So you need like a F5 load balancer, you need servers, right, and yeah, like the Apache server also, right? And then you need to just design your network, right, in the entire, right? It's not like if you're in the cloud, we'll talk in the cloud more, but yeah, right now we are talking for the on premises. So you need to design your own network, right? Like maybe you can just take like any you need to just you can just select, go for any vendor, right, which is providing the network services. Like maybe it's OBS, Orange Services, Orange Company, maybe it's BT, British Telecom, or there are many companies, right, who are going to help you in building your infrastructure, network architecture, I can say, right? So you can just go with them, and then with the help of, you need to design, right, like how your components are running, and many other things, right? You need to just think of for those things. So you need a server, you need a network, right? You need a load balancer, you need a firewall also, right? To place, for an example, when the request is coming from the external internet side, right? There are many malicious requests also, right? Maybe you have some idea of the different types of attacks in the security reason, right? So we have some predefined firewall rules also, right? So you need a firewall also, right, which is going to handle that, which is going to basically block the malicious request, right, which is not like which is not authentic, right? So you have some control there also. You can write some rules there as a predefined, and you can just do some customization also in that. So you need a firewall, right? And suppose that, like, yeah, in PingFederate, like because we just discussed, right, PingFederate is a centralized product, right, and it has to connect to multiple backend sources for authentication, design, and other things, right? So maybe you need a different directory servers, you need a database servers, right, for OAuth grant. We'll discuss more on OAuth part, the use of databases, right? Right now it's not used in modern industry, but yeah, there are a few companies who are still using. So yeah, so basically you have these all components, right, and you need to just configure, design each and everything, right? Maybe you need a team for each and everything. Like for example, if I can say, like for designing the for like taking the server, right, I need a like a Windows team, like in the company, right, who is going to handle the entire thing of the Windows, right? Maybe it's with the memory, it's with the like any issue on the server, any component, right? They are responsible for that. So you need a Windows team who is going to handle the Windows server, right? That basically server, right? You can install your application, that PingFederate, and you're responsible for your application only, but it is running on the Windows, so you need a team, right? So in general, like in the field of on premises, you can see there is a team which is basically just responsible for that Windows server. It's not only you. In the industry, there are many different teams or many different applications running on those different Windows machines. So yeah, so you have a centralized Windows team which is basically looking onto all those like servers, right? So they have a kind of monitoring framework also, right, which is continuously monitoring your server based on the memory, based on the disk size, based on the CPU and other component size, which make your server healthy. And if there is any problem, yeah, they can just fix that. Because yeah, otherwise it can create an issue for your application. Like yeah, so you need a Windows team, right? You need a Linux team also, right? Who is going to, you need basically a Unix administrator, right, who is going to just do some admin things on the Unix server, right? Because they are just make things ready for you, and then after that only you are installing the application. So you are responsible for your application only, right? How you're deploying, installing, and do some changes on the application part component, right? But you're not making some changes on the Unix. You're not have the admin permission on that. So you have a Unix team there again. It's a centralized, I can say, who is going to look for your Unix server, and yeah, they can just make the things ready in terms of monitoring, in terms of any component side. They're also doing the 24/7 monitoring. They're using different tools, right? And same thing applies for different teams, right? In terms of directory servers, in terms of databases, right? You have a team who is going to look into all those things. So for example, if I can say in the on-premise, I need like a different teams, right? Like I need a Windows team, I need a Unix team, I need a network team, I need a firewall team, right? I need a DNS team, I need a database team, I need a directory service team, right? I need a like a application team, definitely, who is going to look on the PingFederate. And I need a reverse like Apache server team, right, who is going to look on the Apache thing, or any proxy or whatever we are using. Like if ping access we are using, so we need a person who team who basically looks onto the ping access configuration and all. And then you need a like a monitoring framework, right? Like maybe all these teams have a definitely they have also monitoring frameworks, like they have already, they are using some tool which basically continuously like monitors your server health, whether Unix, Windows, directory, databases, anything, right? They are continuously monitoring, but as you are also responsible because your application is running, and if there is any issue on the Windows machine, right, then your application is going to suffer, right? So for that, you are also, what we are doing in generally, we are also using kind of tool, like maybe you heard about Sitescope, you heard about Genos, like different tools are there. Somewhere something are used in the cloud, some are used in on-premise, right? So these tools are basically like you can configure some rules there, right, which is basically going to run like some task within 5 minutes or on a continuous basis, right? And if there is any issue, it can just send you an alarm in terms of like priority incident in service now, or maybe any kind of those things, right? So you can use like, so basically those teams are already doing, but as you are also responsible for your application, so you are also doing some configurations in terms of server also, and in terms of your application also. So to run an on-premise thing, you need all these things, right? And sometimes what happen, like when things becomes complex, like when like maybe in terms of network, like, or in terms of anywhere, if the things are very complex, right, then you feel little like maybe I'll say that like during the major issue, right, when there is a major problem happened, yeah, it's little tough also to diagnose that, like that definitely we have a team, we can go open a case with them, they can investigate and help, but yeah, like sometimes like it takes more time, right, as I have seen in the on-premise system. Maybe you can say like maybe it's like a level of support also, you can say sometimes like correct engineers are also not like quickly starting the investigation. Maybe it will take some time like to reach to the senior engineers, right, of the team. So those things are out there, but yeah, like on-premise things is give you a better clarity, you have the full control, you are designing your things. But if you have a lag, like for example, if I am building a Windows team, right, like, but Windows team is not very efficient, then you are going to suffer, right? So in the on-premise, if you have all these teams are like very good, right, if they have the proper knowledge, if they know the entire things properly, like if I take example of anything, like with the Windows, Linux, network, firewall, DNS, directory, take an example of application also, PingFederate, Apache, and all those things, right? If you have a very good team for all those things, and if you just make the things very in a proper, like in a formalized way, right, like which by which people can understand, right? Like if new people is like, if new member is joining the team, right, so if you have a very good understanding of all those things, right, so that person can also able to understand, hey, okay, my application is running in this network, and this is the complete architecture, right, the complete infrastructure. So if there is any issue here, like how, where I need to go and how I can solve that, right, you have the better idea for that. But like, yeah, but if you see anywhere, if there is a gap, as I told, right, in terms of network, right, I have seen like yeah, maybe things are not very complex, but it's not very easy to find the problem. And a very I can say like in the beginning of the investigation, the correct people are also not like quickly jumping to into the call, right, because you know, right, the senior developers or the engineers are not like very easily going to help you in the infrastructure issue, if you have see, right, because they are mainly working for the engineering things or development things, right, but they definitely know the things better, so they are jumping but little later. So that's a gap I can see in some places, right, like in the network area mainly, right, and maybe in other areas also. So if you have a very good team, right, and for all those things, and if you really monitoring the things on a very correct way, if you are using very good tool, and if your team is very good, if you make the things in a very formalized way, like by which like people understand everything, and if there is any issue you can solve it, then it's really a very good thing, because you have the full control. So yeah, that some way you can say like you learn more things also, and you have a better control also, right? So that's about on premises. So if you get a chance to work, you can see these all things, right, like and that's some advantage also, right, you can able to learn something more, right, beyond your application, right, like for example, you are running, you're responsible, you're a team from PingFederate, right, so you are only responsible for PingFed services, right, PingFed configuration, development, or anything, right. But in the on-premise system, you have the control, right, so you can discuss with other teams also, and you can understand a little bit more, right. And yeah, like if you see a major issue is coming, right, in that it's really giving a chance to understand more and more, right, maybe you're not a network expert, but at least like by doing the investigation, debugging the issue, you'll understand a lot, right? So you know how the things are happening, right? And this gives a very good clarity, and it is good, I think. As an engineer, people are looking, right? Like if I'm an application developer, people wants to learn more and more, right? It's not like I can just be stuck on with my application coding only, right? It's not. I need to understand the entire things, right? How the deployment is happening, how it's running, how it's giving the scalability, right? How it's like efficient, right? How it is running without any issue, 24 by 7, 365 days, right? I need to know each and I'll get an idea, right? I'll get a very good insight on all those things, right? And it's really help people to understand the product and the infrastructure of the single sign-on, or maybe any other application, I can say. So that's a little bit about on-premises. So I think you have some idea now, right? Now let's talk about the cloud. So in cloud, like maybe you know that it's basically giving the three services, right? Like maybe you heard about IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, right? So infrastructure as a service, then platform as a service, then you have the software as a service. So software as a service is like where you are not have the much control, any control I can say on the backend infrastructure. You're just utilizing that application, right? Like for an example, you can talk about Okta. Maybe you have used, right? You have used Gmail, right? Gmail.com. For Gmail, using Gmail.com, you're not doing anything, right? You're not just set up the server. You're not like setting up the network, nothing, right? You're just simply going to the browser, opening that application, and you start using. So that's a kind of software as a service, right? So where like a vendor has not given saying you to just do the installation and all. It's just like they have their product running as a SaaS service, software as a service. You can just go to the browser and use that, right? But that's a kind of like application people are using the market, but again, you're not have any control in that, right? In the backend infrastructure, right? How that is running, how many engine, like how many like servers in the backend, how they design their info, nothing. You're not have any control there, right? You're just basically using that. And they are efficient also, right? Because again, they have also the very good engineers working for them, and they are using some different good tools also. So that's about SaaS. But in the sorry, yeah. But in the IaaS, like infrastructure as a service, again you are getting the control like the on-premises system, right? Like as it may, like in the on-premise, you can see that you are designing everything, right? And you need a different teams, right, to do all those things, and then you are just making things ready, right? You are just making your PingFederate ready for receiving the authentication request from the users, and then to serve the services, right? To serve the authentication, and then say give them the token to the application so that user can able to access an application with their role. So now in the IaaS, like it's a cloud service, right? Like maybe if I talk about AWS, GCP, or Azure, let's take about AWS only. Then you have the several components in that only. Like here you are not supposed to go different places, right? Here you are just like an umbrella, right? You are coming to a single place and you are getting everything there only. You just need to use that. You just need to configure that, and they have already their monitoring frameworks designed, which is running very efficiently, right? So you're not going to run here and there for tools and other things, right? Like in on-premise, what is happening? You're doing everything like a cloud only, like a IaaS service of cloud only, but you're running here and there to get the product, to get the team, and make your things ready, right? But in the what is happening in the cloud area, like you are like an umbrella. You're coming to a place, you're getting everything at a single place, right? And you're just doing the configuration. Like for example, I am just choose my AWS, and I just need to install my PingFederate. I just want to use IaaS service of AWS, and then I need to run my PingFederate. So what will the first thing, as we talk about on premises, in similar way in the cloud also, what I'll do, I'll just take a machine, right? I'm not talking here Kubernetes and Docker, that's a modern part, but I'm just going little beyond before that, right? Kubernetes, Docker introduced little later, right? And it's a modern way. People are not using right now to just set up the virtual machine and installing their application, right? It's not like people are using nowadays. But I'm just giving you the background idea, right? How what is happening in the past, and then maybe we can go to the Kubernetes and Docker also. So what will happen, like in the AWS? What we need to do, like we just need to first take up the machine. We need a machine, right? Like we need a virtual machine. So we'll just create that machine in the AWS. First we'll choose the AWS, and then AWS I'll just set up the virtual machines, right? Maybe whatever I need, like whether Windows, Linux, whatever the memory I'll allocate, I'll just set up the machines, right? As per my requirement, as per my application requirement, I'll just set up that machines, right? Virtual machines of Windows server or the Linux server. Once I get that, then I'll just just install my application, PingFederate right there, like so that like PingFederate can able to just handle the authentication request. So first I'll take a machine, virtual machine, and then I'm going to install my PingFederate there, right? And in similar way, I can just install Ping Access or the Apache services also by taking a virtual machines, right? Then what will happen, like in the on-premise system, as I told, right, like we need a load balancer to the balance the load, right? So in similar way, in AWS also, we can just go for the public elastic load balancer and the private application load balancer, right? So we need to just configure this load balancer and again give the target server, right? Like that. In the similar way, we can just in the PF07, we'll talk about the SSO high level architecture diagram, so we'll understand a little bit more. But yeah, for just giving an idea, right, like in AWS, how I can just build like how I can install my PingFederate and a IaaS service, right? So basically just I'm just going to create the virtual machines, install my PingFederate and the Ping Access or the Apache services, and then I'll just set up of the public elastic load balancer and the private application load balancer, and then I'll just set up of the I'll just configure, right? I'll just give the target of the load. I just need to give the target to the load balancer, right? So that it can just, once the request received to the load balancer, it can just send the traffic to like using round robin method. Using round robin method, it can just send the load to one server one by one, right? So if you have the 4 nodes in the target of ALB PingFederate, then it can just send the traffic like one using round robin, right? So that the load can be equally distributed. So in the similar way, you just need to set up the load balancer. First virtual machine, then you're installing application, then load balancer, like external and the internal. Internal here means as a private ALB and external as a public ELB, right? So right. Then you need again everything here also, right? You need a firewall, you need a DNS. So again, as I told, right, you need entire things, right? Whatever things you have seen in the on-premises, you need the complete thing here also. But the difference is like you're not going anywhere, right? You are just stay there only, and you are just utilizing the different things, right? If I need like load balancer, I just went in the AWS only. I have the option, right? I can just configure that. If I need firewall, I can in that place only I have the firewall option. I can just go and configure the firewall rules and all, right? So like that, you are doing entire things, right? Like same thing, like if I for the connecting the backend server of the PingFederate, if it's the AWS directory, then it's under that only. But if it's not AWS, then if you have any other external directory, like this Active Directory or any other LDAP or any other databases, then you can just connect that with PingFed. That is something there is no any issue, but that's the external part. But you are connecting with the AWS services only, right? Because your PingFed is running under the AWS environment of the AWS using AWS service. So now here you can see whatever things you can see here, like DNS, Akamai, firewall, public hosted zone. Akamai is a different thing, right? Akamai is like just we are using in the on-premise also we have that we are using for the edge computing or the content delivery network, I think. So that you can just the service is little fast, right? It's not like it has to go through the entire path again and again, right? Using cache memory, it's doing that. We'll just talk maybe about Akamai also in some other session, right? But yeah, you can see here like you need entire thing: Akamai, DNS, internal, external, firewall, public hosted zone. Like we'll talk in the PF07 when we talk about the architecture diagram, okay? But yeah, so public hosted zone, you have Windows Server, Unix Server, Directory Server, PingFederate, reverse proxy, monitoring framework. So entire these all things you need again in the cloud also using AWS. But what is happening here? You are not going anywhere. You are going to the AWS. You are getting all these services there only. You are just doing the configuration, and somewhere if required you are doing some development also, right? Not in terms of application I'm saying, right? And then you are just designing your infrastructure, right? And then you are started using. So again you have the control here also again, I can say, but again it's in the AWS. So AWS is just handling this load, right? Handling this entire things. You are just utilizing these all services that is running under AWS, and you have the control to do some configuration. You can simply go and make some changes in the load balancer. You can go and make some changes on the Windows Server. You have the control, right? But it's running under AWS, so AWS have all those features there, which is going to control, which is going to help you. I'll not say control, which is going to help you in just managing your services, right? Like for example, you have there already monitoring frameworks provided, right? So you can just utilize that, and then you can just continuously monitoring your application services, your Windows services, your Unix server, right? Entire thing. And again, if I can say, like if you are from a PingFederate team, you need just one team as a cloud team, a cloud support team, which is going to handle your monitoring thing, right? For example, if I am from PingFederate team, I'm again responsible for my PingFederate only, right? I'm not responsible for the load balancer thing. I'm not responsible for the Windows issues and other things, right? What I'm responsible, like my PingFed is running on some server. I'm just using some monitoring frameworks which is already present in AWS, and I'm just continuously monitoring my PingFed services, my Windows server health that is running, because PingFed is if running on that server or the Unix server, right? So I'm doing all those things, but I'm not doing entire like monitoring for everything, right? So who is going to do that? So I just need a cloud support team who is basically have a good experience on the AWS or Azure or GCP or any other public cloud, right? And they can just have a proper understanding of all those things, and they can just definitely configure that monitoring using monitoring frameworks. They are basically going to monitor your services, right? And if there is anything, if you want if there is any issue, they can come and they can make some changes, right? If there is any required to make some changes on the load balancer side, right, whether it's certificate renewal or anything like that, so they are responsible again, right? They can able to do that. So again, you in cloud also you need a team, right? But you are not supposed to go for the multiple teams, right? You're not looking for the different firewall team like DNS team, Windows team, Unix team, like different team. You are not looking here, right? What we are looking, just a cloud support team who have the idea of all this, like how the things are running, how the applications are running using IaaS service. So we just need a cloud support team who can just monitor our services, right? And like raise and just resolve the problem if there is any on the infrastructure, right, on the AWS infrastructure, because they are the cloud support team, so they have more idea on that infrastructure side. So if there is any issue, like they can fix that, and they can just like set up a call with also the PingFederate team to like to make some resolution, right, if there is a requirement. So you just need a one cloud support team, and they can just do the entire thing, monitoring of your whole complete infra. So you see, right, how things becomes little easy. It's not like you're not using any, you're just using something new here, right? You're just using same thing, whatever you used in the on premises, you are just using the same thing in cloud also, in the I'm just talking about IaaS service. So you're just using the same thing again in the cloud. But thing is, like, there you need to just run multiple places to bring the things, right, and to design, configure. And again, you need a different teams who are going to monitor your services, like for different areas. Whereas in AWS or maybe any cloud, you are getting all these things in a single place. You are just utilizing that and then building your designing your infrastructure and running your PingFederate. And you just need one cloud support team who is going to look into all those things. And if there is anything, if there is any issue in any of this infrastructure problem, they can fix that, right? So you can, so that's the difference, right? You understand now. So that's why people are majorly people are just looking for to let's deploy on the cloud thing, right? Because it's really going to help you a lot, and it makes things better, right? Because they have, like, they are not running only your application, right? They just make the solution like that, so the hundreds and thousands of applications can deploy in can deploy their application in these services of maybe AWS in AWS, like using AWS service in AWS cloud or any Azure or GCP or any other public cloud, right? And it can run smoothly, right? Whereas in on-premises, like it's a little bit risky when again, as I told, right, when if the team is not very efficient, right, if they are making some if they are not able to resolve the things in a very early time, if they're making things little complex, right, then the things are challenging. But yeah, in the on-premises you have the full control, right? You have the entire control. So it really, like if you can see the research organization or the financial organizations, they're still using the on-premise, right? Maybe they're running in the hybrid model, that maybe they're utilizing few cloud services also, but they mainly just run their security products in the on-premise system only, right? Because they don't I will not say trust about, but yeah, it's about the control and the and designing the things, right? So they just prefer the on-premises, and on-premise is better. It's not a problem, but it depends only, like, if you have the very good team for all these services, and if they are just making things good, right? If they're resolving the problems in a very correct time, if they have the good team, if they have the good support, right, then there is no any issue. But again, if there is not a good support, then you will feel definitely going to cloud is a good solution, right? Whether it's AWS or any Azure or GCP. Yeah, so this is about on-premises and cloud, and I hope you understand. And if you have any issue, any doubt, you can please put in the comment section. And yeah, like quickly we can jump to PF07, that is introduction to SSO high level architecture diagram. So I'll just give you a rough idea. I'll just draw some diagram in the on-premise as well as in the cloud. So we can see like it's the same thing, right? Whatever I just talk about the components, no? In the similar way, we just need to use those components only, and you can design your SSO infrastructure, right? Like, but that's the advantage of I can say whether it's IaaS service of cloud or the on-premise. But if you can jump to the SaaS model, there is no nothing like about designing and all. It's just about your application, like. But again, everything is happening there also. But it's a vendor, right, who build that product. They have their complete deployment, right? Everything placed in the backend, and you are not able, you are not have any control in that. But yeah, it's configured in that way only. So yeah, I think like that's good. I think we can close the call, and yeah, we can start with PF07 next. Thank you.